Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is John and today we're looking at GitHub Copilot alternatives. Let's go through them one by one. First up is Amazon Q Developer, formerly known as Code Whisperer. Q Developer is the latest offering from Amazon. It seems likely Amazon and Microsoft are going head to head as they had competing announcements within days of each other on this topic. Both have offices in the Seattle area, incidentally, so I think there's quite a rivalry there. One of Q Developer's features is that it's a first-party IDE plugins for many popular tools, including Visual Studio Code and JetBrains. Q Developer is capable of suggesting code or generating blocks of code. It also can generate code documentation and bootstrap new projects. Amazon also touts its ability to convert or transform legacy Java applications to more modern versions. It's kind of a key thing that they mention on their website, so I think they're really going after that enterprise developer. Another key differentiator for Q Developer is its ability to connect to your AWS account. You can ask it questions about resources in your account. And lastly, Q Developer can also integrate with your Mac command line, suggest command completions. It's a powerful feature, but it's something, and some of these others offer it too, but it's something to be careful with when you have AI running commands. There is a free tier. It might be helpful for hobbyists, but I think pros are going to run out of that pretty quick. The pro plan is $19 a month. Support many languages, English, Python, Java, JavaScript, TypeScript, C#, Go, Rust, PHP, Ruby, Kotlin, C, C++, Shell, scripting, SQL, and Scala. So pretty big list there. That is Amazon Q Developer. Next up is ChatGPT. It's not clear how different the ChatGPT experience would be. GitHub Copilot was born from a code-specific OpenAI model called Codex, but it was built by OpenAI and is based on GPT-3, so there's definitely some overlap. ChatGPT is a general purpose LLM, and I would prefer a code-specific AI, but if you already have a ChatGPT account, you may want to consider using this for code development just as a kind of save on having to buy two different AIs. There are some IDE integrations for ChatGPT, but they are third-party tools. So it depends on how adventurous you want to be if you want to use those plugins. Of course, you can use ChatGPT as a standalone product and manually upload your code and ask ChatGPT for assistance in generating code or doing code reviews. ChatGPT does have a free tier. The paid tier is $20 a month, and it supports many human languages, including Spanish, Chinese, and over 50 others. Programming languages include JavaScript, Python, Java, C++, PHP, Ruby, and Go. All right. Next up is Google Gemini Code Assist. Google has heavily invested in AI and touts Gemini's very large 1 million token window or context window. They're soon moving that to 2 million tokens. So we're reviewing an entire code base. A large context window is helpful as more code can be provided to the model and theoretically provide better, more comprehensive responses. Gemini Code Assist has first-party IDE integrations for Visual Studio Code and JetBrains, as well as the Google Cloud IDEs. Code Assist offers auto code completion, code generation, natural language chat, and supports over 20 programming languages. It's possible if you're using some less mainstream languages that Gemini Code Assist might be the only one that can help you out. So if you're using something rather esoteric, you might want to consider Gemini Code Assist. However, the prompts are English only. Code Assist is $19 a month with an upfront annual commitment. All right. Last up is GitHub Copilot. Let's cover off on that. There are, like I mentioned before, there's some overlaps with ChatGPT, but it's not the exact same model, so it's worth considering separately. Copilot supports code conversation, generation, natural language interaction, as well as code documentation like pull request descriptions. Copilot has a few more IDE integrations that some others don't include. The list is Visual Studio Code, JetBrains, Vim, NeoVim, Azure Data Studio, as well as some command line interfaces. GitHub is a little cagey on the programming language support. They mentioned that their ability to support a language is dictated by the amount of code available on public repositories for any given language. So it's not all that clear how Copilot would perform on less mainstream languages. GitHub Copilot only supports prompts in English And there's multiple pricing tiers. There's anywhere from $10 a month to $39 a month. And so it depends on which features you're looking for. Most folks will probably opt for the $19 option, which is kind of the standard price across the industry. It's worth noting that at the cheapest $10 a month plan, your code is not excluded by default from being used to train Copilot. So your code could theoretically leak to others. Depends on how you feel about that. Before we wrap up, there's a few more key factors to consider when making your decision. First, does your company already use one of these tools? If so, the path of least resistance would be to just use that tool. Similarly, which cloud platform are you on? If you're on AWS, using Q Developer is probably a good choice. If you're on Azure, GitHub Copilot, and if you're on Google Cloud, using the Gemini Code Assist. So there's, which cloud environment you're on is something to consider. And the last factor to consider is, do you compete with any of these companies in any way? Are you comfortable with giving them access to your code base? There are many assurances in the fine print on these products, but it's worth considering if you're comfortable with Microsoft, Google, or Amazon having access to your code, especially if there's any differentiating proprietary technology encapsulated in your code base. All right, so let's summarize. Which AI development tool is right for you? Well, it depends. There are many factors to consider. We reviewed pricing for each tool. However, I don't think price is a deciding factor for most, considering the prices are very close to each other and they're not that expensive. I think language support, if you're using something more esoteric, is something to consider. And then cloud integration features. If you're already using one of these platforms, it probably makes sense to use their AI. And lastly, IDE integration, depending on what tools you're using and how that can work into your workflow, that might be a deciding factor. And that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any thoughts, happy to discuss them in the comments. And thanks for watching. Catch you next time.